Good morning, Exorcists. It's time for your daily archive reminder. HOUND, Dullahan. Type 2, possessing decapitated corpse of subject H09, whistleblower from major arms manufacturing company. First, second, and third team sent KIA. Advanced to Cat 5, deemed high priority and virtues were defrosted and dispatched via orbital rail. Time to execution 22 minutes, 2,279 casualties. City required months of reconstruction and reprogramming. Doesn't matter if it's a scumbag or someone trying to do something right. If a hound's let loose, it kills. Now, time to let you loose. Happy hunting. As above, so below. Why hello! Welcome to the After Chats, where today we're talking about our first hound, Dullahan. Or the Headless Horseman, if you're curious where the name comes from. Makes sense with the picture. Though, what are the After Chats for? So everything with the archive reminders is briefly talking about the various example sins we get within the book. Then talking afterwards about the possible domains, possible afflictions, possible palace, etc. The details of the sin that might exist mechanically, which we don't get. This is a good excuse of review or just refreshing on the possible domains and abilities of each of these sins, to help get the gears going for a possible admin, or to help remind the Exorcists on what they might know, because each Exorcist is trained to recognize these. Though, onto where any sin starts, the traumas. For the Hound, it's out for vengeance, so who wronged you, how are you wronged, and what are you unwilling to sacrifice? But starting with Dullahan, for number 1, who wronged you? It is the arms manufacturer, the censored one. But you know, some big player in a military-industrial complex somewhere. How are you wronged? Being beheaded. Being executed and forgotten for being a whistleblower. Wow. And then what are you unwilling to sacrifice? So the fact that they're dead, possibly beforehand it was their life, maybe some tie to family. We don't have many details on the actual possessed person. Not too many details outside of the murder of this host. I find it difficult for what are you unwilling to sacrifice because they were already a whistleblower. That's already a huge risk. Especially with this being the result of being a whistleblower in this company. I don't know, that's difficult. Love to hear what you think in the comments, though. Though, onto the manifestation, we have a good old Type 2. Classic possession of the host. Actually, not classic, this is the corpse of the host that is being possessed. The hound physical extension being more the horse body, and then the corpse, or decapitated corpse, being the host. Remains. Technically all just the same body possessed. You know, eats flesh in space. The sins don't make much sense. Not when it comes to conservation of mass or energy. But another big detail, it advances to Cat 5. Category 5! Like, here's just some of the stuff flashing on screen for Category 5, probably scrolling past, but wow! Oh man! Not good. Not good. Again, the scale goes up to 7. This is Category 5. And the fact it advanced. So it was Category 4 initially, and then moved up to 5. Very large and very public. This was not... This quickly went past its list and went into public areas. 2,279 casualties. That's a lot. That's a big number of individual deaths. Because again, it's not the disease or the hordes of a centipede. This is Dullahan specifically going to kill them. Or just getting in the way of Dullahan. And that's just external casualties, that's civvies. When it comes to CAIN, they classify their own internal casualties separately. You'll notice in some of the other archives that they'll specifically mention some members KIA, but not casualties. Not in the big whole number of casualties, that is. But you still have a lot dead. You have a first, second, and third team that were sent KIA, full teams of Exorcists. This got into such a problem that CAIN ordered the defrosting of virtues and deployment of them. Like, oh man, that's so bad. This is a huge problem, heading to a large populated location, already having killed thousands, and killed 3 teams of Exorcists, which just shows, once again, the sheer violence of Dullahan, the sheer indiscriminate killing. Because again, decent reason, you know, whistleblower for a major arms manufacturing company, that's potentially doing some very, very shady stuff. But once that hound forms, it doesn't matter that they were originally trying to do something good and got killed for it. They're a hound. And that list never ends. Though on to its lethality again, the domains. So for the first one, I'm thinking Fattening of Rage, or the Fattening of Rage. Also with a lot of the casualties, it's getting healed, and since we have evidence that it finished off its whole grudge list, it definitely gained an increase in its execution clock. And then again, all the grudges are dead. More stress, more damage, more killy. It's just fattened off of the rage, it finished that grudge list. And kept going into the thousands. Next one, going with the angle of the fact it's probably a tank. Turning blades, I laughed at their brittleness. Seeing as this is a much more obvious problem, very big, very large, the people down at the bottom can see it because it's a possessed target, or type 2, that's just a really big headless horseman walking down a highway. But back to turning blades, just again adding to the armored aspect, and the arms manufacturer, untouched by these weapons, or now untouched because it's already decapitated, wanting to protect itself, and also making it even tankier. Just a scary combination with the Fattening of Rage. And then lastly, the Measured Weight of Death. Further supernatural resistance, namely because it seems to be a supernatural figure. It is the Headless Horseman. This isn't just a strange monster or something a kid thought would be in a scary movie. This is a mythical creature, or taking the shape of a mythical... creature's hard to classify. Supernatural creature. Supernatural form, but even further resistance on taking damage to its talisman, and then needing to figure out a way to stop it or its weakness, adding into the fact that 3 teams were sent in and 3 of them were KIA. While not many of these tie into any specific whistleblower angle, these all tie into what we get in the after action report. We have a mythical creature, a representation of one, or figure, or supernatural, then have an unstoppable monster, and then a very, very angry monster that had finished its initial list and took a lot of casualties. Or dealt a lot of casualties. When it comes to possible afflictions, there's a good chunk. Again, a lot of these are focused around violence or just anger, which means, hard to actually pin down. But at least going off the fact of its injury being a very prominent part of its manifestation and the host's death, going with blood scent, that focus around injuries, having been harmed, or hurting. And its palace. So Dullahan's palace is very strange, because it could be the road, it could be an empty highway, or it could be an airstrip, or a factory, an arms manufacturing factory, or what I like to think, the result of those arms. The twisted imagined aftermath of a place that was drone striked nearby. Something akin to that, But with all that, you tell me. What do you think was Dullahan's palace, or what was the thing they were unwilling to sacrifice as already being a whistleblower that got them killed? What team do you think they sent? Anywho, as our Temerity Archivist says, happy hunting. As above, so below.